Hey, welcome to the Scorpio channel. Didn't know that I was going to go on tonight, guys. Just decided last minute. Um, I've wanted to do more lives, but sometimes it's really hard to just get on. I mean, I don't know whether it's anxiety, I don't know what it is, but I decided, like I said, I'm going to get on. So I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything. I take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play it as karmic themes. This will help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. This is important when you're dealing with people that have a lot of spiritual blocks. A lot of times we're like, why do I want to be connected to someone that makes me ruminate on not feeling good? And really that's what it is. It's like when you're dealing with karmics. And the reason why that happens is because there's a spiritual connection, and it's not just about having feelings for someone. It's also about that there is a bigger reason to the connection. Like we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. Hey, Mose, how's it going? Thanks for coming on. I want you to know I fought with myself today. Am I coming on? Am I not coming on? Am I coming on? I don't know. I already did a video today. And sometimes I'm like, oh, well, if I do too many videos, then it's almost like, what if the message is too the same? And then Spirit says, again, we get in our own way, right? I mean, that's what triggers are. Triggers are when we have too much thought and too much emotion, and then we get in our own way, and we all have them. Thank you. I need that encouragement. You know what I mean? It's hard to be consistent. I mean, we all have spiritual blocks, right? But I felt like somebody needed a message, right? Someone needed a message. And really, if the message is very similar, well, then understand that that person that resonates with it really needed to hear the message. It's also about learning how not to have an attachment towards an outcome, right? That's really, again, spiritual is that we're supposed to just observe what's happening, from a detached place. And that's really hard when we care about something, right? I mean, if someone's pissing you off that you care about, it's next to impossible to just sit there and be like, well, I'm just going to observe from a detached way. It's like, because that person that you are attached to, there's an emotional bond. And then what happens is they stir up a lot of emotions, and emotions that aren't really positive. They're emotions that make us question. So again, we all have spiritual blocks in all different areas of life, relationships, finances, just anywhere and everywhere, but it's where we get in our own way. And so relationships play out when there's a lot of spiritual blocks, then that's a definite correlation to the spiritual blocks that you have with inside yourself, because you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. Now, that doesn't mean that your behaviorisms are the same. The thing is, a lot of times the behaviorisms are the exact opposite. And that's why there's trigger. There's an emotional connection, there's a spiritual connection, but there's the psychological connection is just not there. The emotional connection is there, where the person feels like home, they feel familiar when they're balanced, but then also it's very turbulent, so it's very confusing. So you want to know how to heal yourself, not so much because of the person, but because of what you need to heal with inside yourself, so that you can raise your vibration. That's why. That's because you can either shape shift the energy. And if the person does have unconditional love for you and they're ready to evolve, they actually will step into that a better version of themselves and understand, yes, it can happen in this lifetime, especially if it's a past life karmic mate. Every lifetime they have an opportunity to heal, but it also depends on what you do. And there's always a spiritual message. So there's always a reason for the relationship. It's just the ones that baffle us are those deep connections. So the word of the video is going to be excessive. Excessive. I figured I would change the deck a little bit. So excessive. I feel like you're dealing with somebody that continued to do something over and over and over and over and over and over. I almost feel like you were dealing with someone that was really manic. Yes. So if you want to get a free reading, you can get a free reading tonight. I like to do live, and also understand like people will resonate. But I feel like you were dealing with somebody that's very excessively. They do something over and over and over and over. And it's almost like trying to prove their point, overstating the situation, like almost like they got triggered in something that you said and then tried to prove a point, but they did it to the extreme, trying to make you feel a lot less important. And also this person acts very dramatic to get their point across. And I feel like when you were around them, it's like they drained your energy. You felt very like weary, like just weary. And it's like, because psychologically, I feel like this person played on you. And I feel like their energy is really a low vibrational energy. They have very addictive behavior. Now, why that's important, we can see energy imbalances. Like you can tell when you're with somebody, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, but it's how they make you feel. So it's almost like at first, I don't think that you realized, like you actually, I think, felt a little maybe like pity for them. I don't know why I'm feeling that. But then no matter like what you tried to do for them, there was a sense of you always being like the bad guy. You were always the bad guy. And it's like almost like this person's an energy vampire. Very, very like controlling, very drama queen. I'm feeling like that this is like a person that just, even if it's a guy, just someone that's throws temper tantrums to get what they want. Like I said, excessive, trying to control the behavior. But I also feel like they have a lot of addictions. I feel like they also never look at anything that they do. They project everything onto you. But if they weren't with you, whoever they're with, that's what they do. And I feel like you got tired of the abuse because it was like you were getting treated like definitely not like somebody that they had feelings for. And that's the thing. It's like there's sometimes people are brought up in environments where they were abused by their parents. And then they get into relationships and they treat the people that they're with the way that their parents treated them. It's almost like they get triggered all the time, and it brings them back to that level of consciousness. And I feel like that's why you felt drained around this person. I feel like you had to walk on eggshells around them. And so that's the problem when people have trauma and they don't heal. It's that everything that they see, everything that they perceive is a trigger. And you don't know what that trigger is. All you see is the excessive behavior. All you see is the controlling behavior. And so I feel like you felt like you were on an emotional roller coaster with this person that in the beginning you tried to actually compensate and be nice, and but then no matter how much you gave, it's like the person got more and more disrespectful, and that's what will happen too. Sorry, crazy on. Well, that's the thing. It's like, because there's a part of you that wants that. Again, self-image. See, I believe that people that are very wounded, they hide behind masks. They don't know who they are, but they know that their life doesn't work. It's like because there's a lack of relationships. So I believe that this person feels like they need to create a facade in order to be liked, in order to be to connect. And if you walking away from this person, like, makes them look at themselves. And also I feel like they're really afraid that maybe you said something to your friends, or said something to your family, or said something. So now they're going to make it like how embarrassing it is, or that they can't really come around and be humble because you made them look like the bad guy, when really they are the bad guy. And they care more about the fact that you said something, if you said something, not even what they did, is what I'm trying to get at. That's the thing with people that don't want to heal, and people that don't heal. Again, this person, I feel like, has a very strong attachment to like the physical, right? They pay attention to like your body, to like the connection, to the physical connection, but they don't really pay attention to the emotional connection, your emotional needs. I'm just feeling like when you were dealing with this person, they're an energy vampire, and it's all about them. That's pretty much what it's saying here. And so when a person hasn't done any self-reflection, they're always going to project everything back onto you. There's a real need for balance. This person needs balance in their life. So understand, if they need balance and you're dealing with them, then also you wind up becoming imbalanced, because this person is not, they don't, to be in a relationship with them, it requires it to be one-sided. Where they're not really giving you that much attention. And so ignored also, like I feel like this person emotionally also doesn't show up for you. So if there's a funeral, if there's a wedding, if there's some event, it's again, well, now you make me look bad to your family, so now I'm also not going to come around. But really, they have a problem having those intimate relationships. And so it's also a sign of, I have a problem with commitment. It's all about manipulation, about them getting what they want without really having to do anything. And so obviously you would take that as, well, who the fuck wants to be with that? It's like, no one does. But understand, there's a sense that this person believes that they can have that. Again, their self-image is not who they are. It's the persona of who they want you to perceive that they are, and who they want everybody else to perceive that they are. So I believe that there are some people that they feel if they ignore you and treat you badly, that you're going to give them more. That is a way of controlling you. But it's understand, I just feel like this person had a lot of spiritual issues long before you came into their life. And them coming in and out of your life just created a lot of abandonment issues. And that's what I'm saying, that this person doesn't show up. And part of the psychological abuse but when a person also comes in and out of your life, they're pretty much saying that they don't value you, when they don't show up, when, you're going through a rough time, that obviously that they're not They're not invested. So they don't mind what that looks like. And that's why, like, when you're around them, you kind of feel drained. You feel weary. It's like because you have feelings for this person, but they're not treating you well. Or they might be using all the right words, but you can still feel what they're doing is not in alignment with what their words are. Because a person that really cares doesn't come in and out of your life. And you don't feel tired and you don't feel lethargic after being with them. And you're able to be transparent with them without them flipping everything around like you're the bad guy. It's abuse. It's abuse because it's manipulation. That's what it is. And so what happens, obviously, is it affects the intimacy, right? Again, that you don't obviously want to, like, you don't find the person as attractive anymore. And that's what this person doesn't realize, that in the beginning of a soul relationship, when you recognize the person, and like where they feel like home, I'm saying soul relationship, like your soul recognizes them, they feel like home, and the relationship is innocent. It's almost like a perfect relationship because there's a lot of love. And there has to be, because again, a relationship transcends lifetimes. So you don't know whether you're dealing with a twin flame, a soulmate. You don't know what type of soulmate you're dealing with. It could be a past life karmic mate. It could be a twin flame. It could be, a life partner. So you have an open heart, and you, like, the relationship is very innocent because there's a trusting to it, because there's a familiarity. But the thing is, over time, with the person continuously not showing up for you, triggering abandonment issues, it affected that second chakra. And that second chakra is the sexuality one, where, like, the intimacy, the trust, when trust at its basic level is, intimacy, when you can be transparent, when you can be vulnerable. This person doesn't allow you to be vulnerable. They don't let you, if you're going through a rough time, they don't really care. They're in and out of your life. It's giving you mixed messages. It's psychological abuse. So obviously, like, you shut down. And so this person got annoyed because it's, again, they need to feel desirable. They need to feel desirable. So instead of them looking at their behavior and saying, well, why doesn't she, like, desire me? And maybe you did, relationship didn't even get that far, but you didn't show that you desired this person. This person needs to feel that. It's like that's how they identify with either being a man or a woman. It's like, take it as it resonates. It's like they need that. And you're like, I can't give you that unless you're going to make me feel like emotionally connected to you. And so this person, like, again, I feel like took it as a rejection and got upset, resentful. But meanwhile, I feel like you were resentful the whole time. There was a part of you that's like, well, you're not changing. You're not caring what I'm going through. It's like you just want me to look again about what's going on with you. Again, just very selfish energy. So what happened is that the trust was gone. And trust, again, is intimacy. It's that second chakra. Like, you don't want to be vulnerable. And when you're naked in the arms of somebody else, obviously you will need to be vulnerable. This person doesn't understand that you began to lose it, the innocence of the relationship. And everybody knows, again, that soulmate, past life, karmic mate, we wouldn't stick around long enough to learn the lesson unless it was a passion, unless it was an emotional connection, but this person, like, ruined it. ruin the connection. And I think that they didn't think that it could happen. But you get tired of the masks. You're like, whoever you pretend to be, you're not really. Because even though we have a connection, or we had a connection, I thought that you were someone else almost. And it's like, you did. You thought that they were someone else because that's who they wanted to portray themselves as. But then you realized it was like their actions were not lining up with their words. You were saying, I don't feel like, it was like a feeling like you had, almost like you're not being transparent with me. You're telling me. They wanted you to be vulnerable. They wanted you to open up, but they weren't going to give you the same energy. And that's what you felt. You didn't feel safe. Because again, of the neglect. This person would like to psychologically harm you, where I feel like emotionally they were hoping almost that you were going to need them, that you were going to drown, that you weren't going to be able to have anybody except for them. It's like, I feel like this person is only being used to people that they've been able to divide and conquer. When people come into your life and they're very dominating and very controlling and come on very sexually, and there's a very strong connection, but then before you know it, you're not hanging out with anyone else except for that person. It's like, so that they can control. And once they have you, so that no one else is around, you lost your friends, or you haven't fed those connections, well, then they turn into who they really are. And that's when emotionally, I feel like they do even more. They try to do even more to you, because it wasn't like you were breaking, but it wasn't like you were leaving either. There was a sense of, I feel like, you wanting this person to bring back the energy that they had, what you first had. And so I'm going to look at the soul relationships, because obviously this was a very strong soul connection, because people don't stay in connections like this unless they're kind of caught up in the energy of the connection, which is, please contact me. I may not respond, but knowing you care opens my heart. So I feel like you always knew that this person had a hard time emotionally opening up to you, being vulnerable, and that's how you took it. You didn't take it I feel like you didn't take it personally, because again, that there is an ESP connection. You do know that they do care in their way. So again, and I only say that because this person still cares, but they're not going to show any vulnerability. It's almost like they need to know that you care. I'm feeling controlled by people around me, and I don't like it. It's pushing me to find my power again. So I feel like this person, because they don't feel stable in their own relationships, those intimate relationships, they form a lot of insignificant relationships. People, ones that they felt that they were in full control over. So that could be just the family, friends, but they had all the power, meaning that they were almost too big to fail. And I feel like that's not the case. I feel like a lot of people got tired of this person's big ego. This person is actually not in the same place where they were when you and them were when they were dealing with you. They were almost like a different person. I feel like there were people that have surrounded this person now that have kind of cut them down to size, that they don't have such a big ego, because I feel like people had it with their shit. You could be somewhere, but also not be there, meaning emotionally and psychologically, they're not there. So they're like checked out and then saying one thing and then doing another thing. And, people know when you're genuine. This person is still thinking about you, I feel like. I'm not happy. Karmic behaviors and people situations are playing a role in what's happening with me, and it's hard for me to see a way out. Yeah, like I said, they're not in the same place. So this person might have had a business with people, they might have been married to somebody, they could have again had close people that were like family, but they've invested in something with these people, and I just feel like everyone has turned against this person. So they're not the same person that you were dealing with, and that's also another reason why they're not contacting you. Feel like they're embarrassed that and it's, you know what, it's always the person that treats the person like shit that they wind up needing. They always say that, and that it's almost like this person is knowing that they didn't treat you well, but they need you now. There's a sense that I feel like they need you now, but again, they're not going to show any vulnerability. I'm struggling with codependency. I'm afraid to let go of my old coping mechanisms. So being attached to karmic people is part of that. It's also like the way that they think, the way that they have to actually come to a place where they surrender their ego. It's like this person the whole time when you were dealing with them, they didn't give you respect. Now it's like you see, it's like this person was so weak that they wanted to make you weak to make themselves feel more powerful. So you coming in on a higher vibration triggered this person. You being vulnerable and needing what you needed from them is triggering to them. But I feel like now they're in a different seat and they're seeing everything from that different perception. When I look into your eyes, I see the universe and it activates me. I mean, I don't know whether they go that deep, but I feel like they do feel like when they look at you, they get the butterflies. There's an emotional feeling. There's a sense that this person suffers with a lot of codependency. So they rely on other people for their stability, for their, whether that's emotionally, psychologically, financially, they're being controlled by people in their environment. Again, it's pushing them to grow, but nevertheless, it's like in order to live that way, you have to be detached. You have to be disassociated. You kind of be like sleepwalking, emotionally cut off. So it's actually a good thing because it's bringing them back to their heart. Now you might say, "I no, don't even want to be with this person." It wouldn't matter. The universe doesn't care whether you're with them or not. Just cares whether or not this person is going to heal. So if you're one person on their long road to healing, well, the universe says, well, it did its job. The connection did its job. Could it have done more? Sure. But if it just does that, well, it's not like the universe won't bring something else or somebody else to help this person along the way. Vice versa for you. So it's that they feel it. And the whole point is that they just emotionally have been cut off. And that's because there's a part of them that has given up too much of their power. And so, I feel like that they're awakening to who they are, but they're also like having to look at why they gave up so much of their power. Like this person's inner child like needs healing, and it needs to be like they need to like reparent that part of themselves, which obviously codependency is usually like happens because of your inner child wounds, that at some place that this person was made to feel inadequate, made to feel as if that there was something wrong with them. And so they, created a big ego, and possibly because they did very well, they were connected with a bunch of people within, I feel like, business, something with their finances, something within their stability. So I don't know whether their house or with something that's, again, their stability. So they were able to act like big shit on Turd Mountain, pretty much, when they were dealing when you were dealing with them, like someone that they were too big to fail. But what happened is all those people have turned against them. So they are not the same person who you dealt with before. And I feel like you walked away during this, the time, like when they were still like high on the mountain. And so again, now a lot of time has gone by. This person wasted a lot of time, because they thought for sure that you were going to come back, for sure. My heart is with another right now. I have to finish this karmic contract in order to break free. So again, some of these people are with karmic contracts, and this is why they can't get out, because like I said, there's financially they are tied up with this person. And I feel like, again, they might own a business with this person, that are married to this person. They can't get out of the situation because there's other people also involved. So it's like this, that's why it's a karmic contract. It's like, but they're awakening 1111, so they know a lot more than they used to know. And I feel like that they see that person and who they are and their life, and they're having to make some serious choices right now. I need you to trust me and believe I am working towards union with you. So it's, again, this person believes that they're gonna get out, but they don't know exactly when or how. I wish you could see that we are mirroring each other right now. I feel like they know that you're like really pissed off and annoyed. Again, felt disrespected, and also like that now, like you're with somebody else, and then you're gonna come back into my life. Why are you gonna come back into my life? So it's like that. And they also are triggered by like their situation. Don't listen to other people, trust yourself. So I feel like that this person, for a little while, wasn't trusting themselves, was trusting the people that they were codependent to. And now they're afraid that you're going to like tell people, and that, you're going to do the same way. And meanwhile, I don't feel like you would let anyone make decisions for you. I feel like you're connected to someone that is not spiritually intelligent. They may be business intelligent, but they're certainly not spiritually intelligent. You show up in my dreams, and it helps me process buried memories. Again, this is a past life karmic connection. It's like this person does want to stay connected to you, but they have to finish out this karmic connection. It's like they don't want to be in this connection. But other people are controlling them right now through their finances. So it's like they can't give you anything right now until they heal their inner child and realize why they choose to stay bound to people that they don't want to be in. It's like the relationship can't go anywhere. This person's like awakening to it, but it's a process. It's a process. And we've been getting this storyline a lot lately. So, and a person, like, again, is breaking away, is awakening, but we are in spiritual times right now. So people are like, whatever has been out of balance is slowly coming to a head, like not just like in our outer world, but obviously in our internal, in our personal lives. And so I believe that this person was connected to a karmic for a long period of time. And like I said, they never thought that connection was going to end. And I feel like that connection is ending eventually, but it's going to end when this karmic drains them of everything that they have. I hope you can move on and find love again. So like this person knows that you're not going to stay. It's too painful for me to see you right now. Yeah, because they know that you're not going to, again, it's embarrassing for them. It's painful because they have to admit everything that they lost. That's number one. Number two, it's like they're not the same person that you dealt with before. And there's a chance that you're not even going to find them attractive. So there's, like I said, I think that this person, it's their karma. It's their karma. It's almost like, and I feel like that this person thinks because they treated you this way, that's why that's happening to them. When really, it's like, I feel like this person didn't treat anyone well. And that's why that happened. And they didn't treat you well. And that's why you walked away from them. It's like now, just because they're in a different place and they're looking at you through different eyes, that doesn't cancel out how they treated you. It's like, and that's the thing. They'll want you to feel that way. They'll want you to, because there's a connection, but they crapped all over the situation, and they know it. So part of them is like, I want to get back together. I'm going to work towards a union with you, but they also know that they've taken too much time, that they haven't really invested. And how are they going to fix this? Yeah, your intuition knows that they're going to come back. It's like your sixth sense knows it. It's like you have an inner knowing with this person. And it's because they had like unfinished business with you. But understand that if this karmic didn't flatten them out, I don't think that they would care. It's like now I feel like you're in a high place, like you're in a high point within your life. There's going to be an outing, I feel like, in the springtime, a gathering, some sort of where this person like tries to bump into you. I also feel like there's going to be like a celebration for you. So maybe it's like not your birthday, but like a party, like a celebration. It's like where you get recognition. So maybe you get a promotion at your job or something like this. And this person hears about it. I don't know whether it's through Facebook or something, but it's like, again, ceremony, friends, like a graduation. They're going to show up at it. And your intuition knows it. Because this person feels like you're going to move on. And they know that they were cold and they're calculating and this person is very quick-witted, and they're very controlling, but they have a very hard time with their emotions. So that the issue is that you're dealing with a person that is not going to be transparent, that they still hold all the wounds that they did before. It's just understand that they're more humble. So they're more humble because of their situation. But the issue is they haven't done any healing, remember. So it's not like, just because like someone flattens them and, takes their money, takes their identity, ruins their identity, ruins their, like, again, their entire self-image. It's like, they haven't did the healing work. Yes, there's a dark night of the soul, but without really doing reflection work and understanding why those situations happened, and learning how to implement boundaries and just certain things, that this person will always be cold. They will always be calculating. They don't trust who they are. They come from a survival perspective, so they think that they're smart. They know that they are, but it's like that's not what relationships are supposed to be. It's like, especially when you're somebody that's very compassionate, where you're someone that's not selfish. And there's this that your energy is very much emotional, sensitive. So this person likes that energy, but they don't give it. And that's because they haven't healed. So that's the issue. It's like, do they have feelings for you? Yes, they do. But it's, again, they have a hard time. It's very hidden emotions. It's like they don't know how to do it. So what the problem with that is, there's always a lack of support, is what it feels like, whether that's emotional support. And I say that because, again, we see that right here, support, right? Because that's what it is. They need to like reform. They need to like, again, to take time to do the healing. It's like, right, it takes time. It takes refinement. They have to purify themselves. They have to cultivate the spiritual lessons that they've learned. Otherwise, it's like they're just going into another relationship looking for another savior. So, I mean, do they want to come back? Yeah, they want to come back, but they're coming back broken. They're coming back broken with no money, with no anything, and then on top of it, haven't done any healing. So you're dealing with somebody that, like I said, it's be very challenging. And remember, if whether you're a man or you're a woman, no one wants to be in their masculine energy 24/7. Meaning, like, you have to tell this person what to do. You're micromanaging. And I don't even want to say parenting, because it's frustrating when you feel like you're talking to somebody and they're not getting it, and they're like, they're not showing up. They're not showing up for you. And that's what this, this person felt like they were so big. They had people around them that were doing that for them. That karmic. That's why they were in a karmic contract. It's like, because that's why the karmic had that much control. It's not because it was a great marriage. It's because, oh, if I'm going to do everything, motherfucker, and you're not going to give me anything emotionally, I'm going to own your ass. Because then eventually you're going to hate me, because it affects the intimacy. It affects the trust. No one wants to be micromanaged. So now this person's like, again, life is ruined. And they need to be, like, again, rehabilitated, per se, like recreated. So that's a problem. It's such disrespect. It's like, because this person doesn't just because they go through the experience doesn't mean that they learn. So again, the answer is, like, are they going to come to you at this moment? The answer is no, not now. Because they know, too, I can't come to you like completely like broken. But I actually believe that that's not even what's holding them back. I believe what's holding them back is they're mortified at what happened. And they're afraid that you're going to act like you're not interested. Like, that you're going to act like you don't care, like you're going to give back to them exactly what they gave to you, because this person knows that they didn't treat you well, like that. So they know, it's almost like their karma. So they left it as like almost like unfinished business, hoping that that would bother you. It's going to bother them. Yeah. It's like they know that they didn't honor you. They know. And so they're not confident to to come towards you right now. That's not what it is. It's like this person is going to come to you after they have like surrendered their ego. Like when they have like go through a dark night of the soul, there's a part of this person, if they're thinking, oh, you're going to be disinterested, and really I can't come in being more passionate and fearless, well then, I can't really, I'm not ready to come towards you. But I really feel like it's like I'm not ready to be transparent with you. I'm not ready to to share what happened, everything what happened. Like they would come to you with leaving pieces of their story out. And in the leaving the pieces of their story out, they would, just try and finagle. And I feel like you're like, you don't trust this person. And like, it's almost like you're going to be like, you would make this person prove themselves to you. And then, even then, still may not take this person back after it all, like I said. So this person knows that they're just not ready to be, like, they're not confident right now. They don't have that energy. Because again, you would again look closer. You would again want to do the deep dive. You double check. You would again, like, this person wouldn't be able to get over on you. It's almost like, and I think that they would want to leave parts of their story out. They wouldn't want to share that they were flattened. They wouldn't want to share that they didn't have any money. They wouldn't want to share. So they wouldn't want to be fully transparent, and they would be coming towards you like, well, passionately, but they know that that's not going to fly, that you're going to again check and double check and like read the fine print, because you don't trust this person, so they're like holding back because of it right now. But are they strategizing to figure out a way to come back? Yeah, clearly. I mean, I can't come back because I don't have enough. I can't come back. How can I come back with leaving my story out? How can I come back? It's like there's an emotional force. There's a subconscious that it's, again, there's many different layers to this relationship. I mean, it's a soul's relationship. Is really to help them develop their character. Really, soul relationships do that. The emotional force of the connection, still a soul's connection. It's just you're not falling for it. Like, it's like soul's connection, past life karmic connection. It's like you're seeing it. You're like, I already learned this lesson, and I don't want it. Oh, you're putting the energy into yourself. You're pouring it into yourself. And I feel like that's why there's gonna be a celebration that this person shows up at. You're gonna get recognized, or something's gonna happen where you're going to have prosperity, money, abundance. But I feel like this is when this person comes back, like I said, and they're going to tempt you. And because it's, again, there really is a connection, like tempted, right? So it's because there is an emotional connection between you and this person. It's not like there isn't. However, this person, like, until they learn the spiritual lesson, that karmic cord can't be cut. Because there is love. That's the thing with the past life karmic connection. It transcends many, many lifetimes. That cord can never be destroyed. What happens is that when we learn the spiritual lesson, we're no longer on the same vibration as that person. So we no longer see them the same way. And that's usually what cuts that psychic cord, if it's a past life karmic mate where they don't want to evolve. This person isn't learning the lesson. They still have a connection, but they know that they have to heal. But it's almost like they're so concerned about their self-image. still. And so at this time, there's a part of like you and them that are really uncertain about what's going to happen, because there's feelings there, but it's like this person's not coming towards you and you're not coming towards them. Like I said, that we know why they're not coming towards you, because somebody has them, again, has them captive pretty much, and is like controlling them. They have to live out this karmic contract, but only them can break that karmic contract too. But until they do the inner child work, they won't cut that karmic contract. So that karmic person has a lot of power. Remember, because they were lazy in a connection, they didn't emotionally give that karmic anything. But that karmic sure as hell took advantage. So it's like they always felt very small, obviously, about themselves. It's just they didn't look like they had a poor self-esteem, because, hey, they had a strong karmic back home that was doing all the work. So it's, again, and emotionally not getting anything. So now they're getting flattened by that same person. Yeah, it's like if they're not going to change, it's unlikely at this time. It's like, doesn't mean that they're not trying to do the work. They are doing the work, but as far as you being able to see the benefits of that, no. Is there unconditional love there? Yes, there is unconditional love, because it's still a karmic connection, like I said. And as long as that lesson hasn't been learned, and depending on how much energy you put forth, see, it's how much time, energy, focus you put towards a person. So if you, like, you, even if you never dated the person, but you thought about them every day and emotionally grew an attachment to this person, when this person would disconnect and, let's just say, started to date someone else, you would feel it. Even if you didn't date the person, if every day you know, checked in on their Facebook and talked to them and gave them energy, and then one day, after 2 years, 3 years, where you were building up an emotional connection, and all of a sudden they turn around and say, now I'm with somebody else, like I said, you'd feel it. So that's the thing. It's like so if you gave too much energy to this person and they didn't give you anything, well, it's how much you give is how big the wound becomes. So again, I don't feel like you allowed that to like happen, and mainly because you listen to your inner knowing, like you could tell. So again, when a person has such an ESP connection, emotionally they're capable to give to you, and you've had that before. It's not like you haven't in other connections. So this was a connection that showed you that there was that ESP connection, but emotionally you weren't getting anything from that person. And because you weren't, it like really affected it affected everything. It obviously reflected the intimacy, which is trust, but then it's also the connection, like the passion. And so, like, after a while, you're like, well, I would rather just tell you the cold, hard truth and be out of this connection. And because I have many other options. And it's like you got to the point where it's like you were going to give yourself the unconditional love to yourself, because you were saying, I'm not getting anything. And so I'd be happier by myself. So when you wind up in a connection with a person that seems to be all over the place, well, we see why. They were connected to somebody else. So, they thought as long as they could put the spin on it, that they were going to be able to have their cake and eat it too. What that happened is that karmic had other plans for them. That's why they're not in the same place that they were. You're not going to see a very strong person going to see a very broken person. And I feel like that might turn you off because you didn't meet them that way. So we have to say, when we get into a connection.
From TikTok, Triena at.
Sorry about that. When you have a connection like this and it's a past life karmic mate, and then it's like, it never really got off the ground. It couldn't get off the ground because this person was with somebody the whole time. I feel like when they met you, they pretended that they were single or telling you that they were on their way out of that connection, never really intending to be on their way out. Anyway, nevertheless, it's more like this person was a fraud. So you have to say, well, why would the universe bring me that person? It's like, especially if I really thought that we had this connection. Well, the connection is what allows you to stop and reflect and go deep within inside yourself. It's how this person made you feel. So a person can't make you feel any way, good or bad, unless you actually hold those traits within inside of you. And this person, they played a lot of games in the beginning. They made you feel bad. So until you finally said, well, enough of it is enough. I'm not going to be with you. Well, now you see, they couldn't ever really give you anything, that you're seeing them completely different. Also, you thought that this person was someone that was confident, someone that had their shit together. And now you're seeing that this person is none of those things. So there's a part of you that says, again, so why would I attract that into my life? What would be the spiritual significance to that? And so we look to the inner child wounds, which is the first card out, is self-sabotage. The second card is discipline. Third card out is confusion. Belittled. Abandonment. I pull 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more makes 6. Unworthy. Well, growing up in an environment, again, these are your inner child wounds. So whether it was your parents, whether it was the family that you grew up in, the environment that you grew up in, there wasn't any real support. And that could have been for numerous reasons. This is a collective reading. So you could have grown up in an alcoholic family. You could have grown up with a parent that always worked. There was only one family member that worked. The other one was never around. Somebody could have been sick. Whatever the issue was, you didn't have the support. But it wasn't just you didn't have the support, that you were also made to feel not good about yourself, because we pulled belittled, like you were bullied by somebody that was an authoritative figure or an authority over you, and made to feel unworthy. So when you're made to feel unworthy and not good enough and belittled, then what winds up happening is it obviously affects your self-esteem, right? And so when we don't feel good about ourselves, then there's a sense of a lot of confusion, because the people that are around us that should be loving us, that should be a sense of support, are making us feel unworthy and making us feel belittled. Again, that's emotionally being abusive, psychologically abusive, not feeling safe. So again, then we go through life feeling we're not deserving of love because we were in an environment where we were taught that. Now, are we saying that? No, we're subconsciously, that's what we think, because that was the environment that we grew up in. Our habits and our behaviorisms, what we're teaching other people is that. where that is the problem. Psychically, we're telling those people. So, and I feel like you got into a connection with this person and where you overgave. And you overgave because of the environment that you grew up in. Like if you're belittled and you felt to be unworthy, then you don't realize that you give too much. You care too much. It's like in the desire and the want for love, you're paying so much attention to yourself that you're not paying attention to like how a person is really treating you. When meanwhile, those people that are treating you with, energy of feeling unworthy and that are belittling you to do so, they're not on a high vibration. Like, because no one that's on a high vibration would treat anyone like that. It's a sign that they don't feel good about themselves, but you're not even paying attention to that. You're mainly, again, paying attention whether or not you're good enough. And so by paying attention too much to the other person's needs, which, so you're paying more attention to being liked than being respected. And so you wind up manifesting the same thing. You wind up manifesting the same thing, which is a self-sabotaging behaviorism. Also, when you care too much about what someone else thinks and not care enough about how you're being treated, it's a self-sabotaging behaviorism. You think that people are going to treat you nicer. They don't. And the reason why is because what you really perceive is that you have to do that in order for them to be nice. So you're coming from a place of fear. So that is what the universe hears. That is what you're unconsciously telling the person that you're being overly nice to. That didn't work for it. That didn't honor it. And so that's the thing. Discipline, I feel like when you grew up in an environment where you were belittled, where you felt to be unworthy, well, then you're not really trying that hard a lot of times because your emotional support is what's most important when you're a child. So you're going anywhere that's going to soothe that, to give you that, because you're not getting it from at home. So when you are a child, that's when you have the habits to discipline yourself, to do the studying, to again, to set small goals, long-term goals, to be consistent in cultivating a hobby, a talent, an interest. But if you're, again, grew up in a place of feeling, again, unworthy and not good enough, then there's almost like a sense of why bother? And also if you're doing it and you're being made fun of or like again being torn down, there's a sense of not like just getting in your own way because there's a sense of unconsciously believing that you can't have it because that was the environment that you grew up in. So it's not something that you're aware that you're doing, that you're getting in your own way, because it's again what the driving forces are feeling unworthy and being belittled. So getting around somebody that you have feelings for, but you haven't learned to love yourself enough. And I feel like when you met this person, like you showed this person that you cared too much about them and not enough about yourself. But like I said, it was a psychic, it was like almost like a psychic thing that this person was like, I know how to treat you because of how you're treating you. And self-sabotaging behaviorisms is when you give more to someone else than yourself. You actually are abandoning yourself. And so it's not so much paying attention that, oh, this person abandoned me. They did abandon you. However, when you don't abandon yourself, then the universe brings you other people so to help you get through the hard times. So then you're able to emotionally cut the relationship off because you're like, well, let's see. You weren't around for XYZ, this affair, that affair, when I needed you this time, that time, the other time. And these people were. So these people I'm going to give more energy to, and I'm not going to give you any energy. You're teaching the person that now they're disposable because they didn't treat you well. And it's not a bad thing, it's a respect thing. Because if the person really wants to be in your life, they're going to come back humble. This person's fighting with their ego. They want to come back, but they, know that it's going to be difficult, and well, like let me procrastinate more, and they haven't even closed out the situation that they're in. They're not capable. So spirit says, don't be with this person because it'll be like abandoning yourself. It'll be like self sabotaging you. They don't even know how to treat themselves. They treated that karmic like they were unworthy. They belittled them for a long time. Don't you kid yourself. That's why the karmic has as much power as they do. That's why they're as angry as that they are. You're just seeing now the shoe is on the other foot. That's all that you're seeing. It's like, and you would wind up back in the same type of connection that was very confusing. That a person that was supposed to love you and give you support, they would try and keep you in a low vibration of being belittled because they're not healed. And so it was a karmic test. You had to go through the test. And this might have even been like, well, I never went through this before. You might have grown up in a very codependent relationship, like your parents had a trauma bond, because this person's in a trauma bond connection. And yes, you were high vibration. So yeah, you didn't go into this connection, but witnessing it, having the choice, seeing exactly it up close and personal, would not be a thing that wouldn't happen if you grew up in that environment and it made that type of imprint on your psyche. And that's what happens when you see parents that are in those trauma bond relationships, because you always see that everyone's unhappy. No one's, and what, as a result, the parents are projecting a lot of their anger onto the children because they don't have the patience. They don't have, again, hurt people. Also, if your parent grew up with a parent that abused them and they didn't heal, now they're projecting their anger on to you. And so then you walking from this lower consciousness, you would never been aware. Part of the real healing is not just the awareness. You have to go through the experience again, live the karmic theme again, and handle it differently in order to really transmute that negative energy. So that's why this happened. You had to go through this experience again, to clear that. And so we leave it off with one more message from the universe, and then I'll answer any questions that anyone has. But I always like to say, well, okay, so I went through the experience and I cleared the energy. What is the last message that the universe would tell us? And it would say, goodness. I refine my character and overcome difficulties by remaining positive. I calm my heart and illuminate my intellect to transform shadow into light. I consciously manifest goodness in and around me. I improve my qualities for the benefit of all. So it's almost like, because you grew up in an environment where you were belittled and like just made to feel unworthy, that you would be coming from a low vibration. Again, there's only two energies, love and fear. So refining your goodness is refining your character, knowing your worth. Always, also, it wouldn't be uncommon for you to be afraid of people, to think the worst of people. So again, your mind was conditioned. If you were bullied by a parent, if you were abused by a parent. So my suggestion Listen to things like Science of the Mind. Listen to like YouTube, like any spiritual speaker. Why? Because you have to recondition your mind and what you believe, and to refine your character. It's like, again, we have to not come from a place of fear, and also to remain calm, like to illuminate your intellect, to transform shadow into light is all about that. It's all about integrating the spiritual wounds. And this person obviously was an experience that would help you to actually transform some of that to consciously manifest good around you, to improve the qualities for the benefit of all, and the qualities of yourself. Is that every person that's here has a purpose. That's really what it is. It's like we're here to give and receive of love, to be the expression of love. And we do it through our own unique being. And what Spirit is saying is find who that person is, like what you were born to be, because you're not who your parents said that you were, or the experience that you lived, or even if you were in a bad relationship. Over time, when we're just in bad relationships, we begin to believe that that's what we can have. We believe that that's our purpose. We get caught up in the basic everyday things, like going off to work, being in our relationship, where Spirit says it's much bigger than that. It's that you're an expression of unconditional love by becoming what you love. You get to connect intimately with many different people, go deep, be transparent, get emotionally fulfilled, so that you're getting treated well, so that you can refine your character to become that energy of unconditional love. That's not the easiest thing to do, because that means you have to learn to be compassionate. It means that you need to be vulnerable. It means that you have to like have courage. It means that's not easy if you were brought up in an environment where you were bullied, where you were made to feel not safe. And attracting a person like that into your life, like we just saw, that didn't even have an identity. The karmic was controlling them, was a puppeteer. It's like that you weren't even dealing with a real person. No identity, where Spirit's saying it's like the same energy. There's only two energies, love and fear. So this is about you learning your goodness, knowing your worth. You don't know your worth because you didn't even recognize that, is what Spirit was saying. It's like, and that's due to the environments that you grew up in, and it maybe again a few relationships, obviously, that had the same type of karmic theme, and other people teaching you that karmic theme. So what Spirit's saying is like that none of that's accurate. It's like you need to integrate the spiritual lesson. So it's not that you have a bad character, we want to be ethical, right? But if unfortunately if we're coming from a place of fear, it's not that same energy that you're going to pull people to you that are not ethical. And that's the issue. So in order to get strong, like I said, we give ourselves spiritual nutrition, because the world will tell you different. The environments that you're in, a lot of them will tell you different, because you're not easily controlled then. And so it's just easier. So it's to pull on your spiritual sovereignty to heal, because you can, that's the beauty of our mind and body. They're self-healing organisms. So you can transcend the limitations of your mind, those experiences that you lived that were traumatic, by reinventing yourself, because life is ever about co-creation, and that you're allowed to just become the expression of unconditional love. That's your energy. Anyway, that's your energy. That was the energy you were born as. We're born into families, and we get into situations that tell us otherwise. So Spirit says, no, know your goodness. This person definitely didn't, but it allowed you to then say, no, I actually recognize that. And the action is always what solidifies that. That's, we have to always embody the new consciousness. And that means by going through the experience, no matter how painful it is, and to prove how we truly feel for in order for us to ascend. Otherwise we wouldn't evolve. We couldn't evolve. It's like, that's why we go through this. All right, guys, I want to thank you. Let me read some of your comments. Like I said, if anyone has any questions for me, please feel free to ask me. So those people are his own family, and who doesn't care if he liked this, and I called him out big time to his family, set boundaries, and put, see, that's the thing. When a person isn't ready, like, to set boundaries, like with their family, is because they're not strong within themselves. And the thing is, in order to get strong with yourself, you have to break away from the environment. That's the thing. They'd have to make new friends, make new, and so it's not about really getting rid of family. It's about teaching people how you want to be treated. But if you have no other people in your life and you only have family, then what happens is, it's like, you, how long can you stay angry? How long can you stay away? So that's the issue. It's and tell him that he will face it for I feel like the people, they hear about karma, but they don't really believe that it comes back to them until they go through that situation. Well, that's the thing. It's like, Miss Mimi, you feed it though. It's like you feed it. It's like that, because every night you're like, he did this, he did that. When we want to teach someone, we don't give them so much energy. There's a sense that you don't want to let go because you like love this person so much. And that's what it is. It's like, but the truth of the matter is, with games like that they play, they're mean. They get mean. And so I would want you to look into why you associate love with pain, like that this person gets mean. Like, that's not like love. Yeah, like there's a sense that they want to like be mean and watch you get hurt. It's like very narcissistic energy. It's like, and it's not like they don't give you passion. There's passion, but there's also, like I said, this energy of wanting to control and dominate and like to see you in pain, and doesn't like have a problem disrespecting. And so the energies that are just as kind, like are canceled out by this person's like energies to be just as mean. So you're continuously in this like fluctuation, and that happens almost like when, if you were like raised by someone that showed you love but they were mean to you. So it's like you accept it, you identified love with it, but love doesn't, it's not supposed to hurt. It's like, I feel like like in order to cut the cord, it's more like reinventing yourself. People can't just cut the cord. You can't just say, I'm going to get rid of it. Like I said in the story that I said tonight, that was the issue. This person couldn't cut the cord. That until they learn the lesson. Until when you learn the lesson, you see the person differently. When you change yourself, but it's like changing yourself has got to be more than just saying affirmations and like reading spiritual material. It's about going out in life and discovering new things and emotionally fulfilling yourself, learning to fill your own cup so that you can tell when somebody's not giving you enough. It's like, to cut the cord, it's like if the person isn't giving you anything or is keeping you in a place of feeling bad or angry, then they're just stealing energy. So all you really have to do is give yourself the emotional energy that you need. Eventually, the universe brings people into your life, trust me, and eventually you would get over that person. But as long as you don't live life, but you just work on yourself, and when I say like live life, I don't mean, well, I joined the gym, because I talk when I do coaching for people, and they say, well, I joined the gym. It's not like the gym's not good, but it's not like the gym is a socializing event where you meet people due to common interests that you can have a conversation with. It's like usually working out is something that you do, and you might have a partner, but you don't sit there and do all the exercises with that person. And sometimes you don't talk to the person. Sometimes people can, but that's not really like an event, something that's a common interest, a hobby, an interest, a passion. That's the thing. Thank you, Pri. Like, I just say that it's like because you want to see a different version of yourself. How can you see a different version of yourself around the same people, the same situations, and the same experiences? When you do something different and you're around different people, well, again, they begin to view you differently. It's like, and what you would notice is if you brought those new people around people that have known you for a really long time, they would say, oh, Pre's this way. That's so funny. Pre did this at the comedy club. They would be like, comedy club? Pre's not funny. And it's like, and those people would say, I think that Pre is really funny. Like, what are you talking about? It's like those new people would have a different perception of you because they're not jaded from all the experiences of the past. How do you think we can change perception of ourselves if we're around the same people that are committed to being and seeing us the same way? We can. It's like, but when we put ourselves in new situations that people are going to applaud us, they're going to treat us differently, it changes our view of who we are. It's very healing, and it allows us to see that anything's possible. Otherwise, then what winds up happening is that you are able to transcend. So I'm literally tired of seeing myself choosing to be miserable. Right. And that's the thing, but that you have to put something in its place. You have to put something in its place. Remember, you can't just get rid of negative energy. It's impossible. You have to transmute it. You have to integrate it. You have to learn from it. And so you connected to a person where there's love there, but there's as much love, there's hate. It's crazy. It's about dominance. It's about control. This person likes to see you in pain. It's like that should be easy to fix. But if it's not easy to fix, it's because you're not investing in you. It's not about, I feel like you go out there and there's a sense, Ms. Mimi, that you're like very friendly, almost like too friendly. And so you don't know why people treat you the way that they do. And it's because people don't honor, they don't respect. Almost in this story, this person cared more about, you know, loving, being loved, being liked, than about how people were treating them, respect, because of believing that they can't really have that, being afraid that they're not going to be liked. Where people that like themselves, they don't care whether they're liked or not. Guaranteed. It's like when you say, well, what gives them confidence? They are continuously invested in life. And it really allows them to feel connected to other people emotionally. They don't need to get that emotional uh, fulfillment from the person that they have feelings for all the time. However, if a person can't give you that ever, then it's like you don't want to be in a connection like that, because it's again someone like you, Miss Mimi, you need that. You need the emotional connection. And why? Because it's something that keeps happening. It keeps happening, keeps happening. But understand, because it keeps happening, you're like an empty well. It's like you won't recognize when it's real and when it's fake because you're in a desert. And so, meaning emotionally, you're not getting enough. So, of course, anyone comes around and they're somewhat nice. It's like that's good enough. And that's a problem. You know, you can change the way that you view yourself, but you got to put yourself out there. And there's probably anxiety too, Miss Mimi. I'm feeling like you need to work a little bit on anxiety, because once you're out there, and then you do get comfortable, but it's the actual, well, it takes me a little time to get comfortable. You feel anger come up when you try to discipline yourself for new habits because of past. Well, I feel like it's to Amy, it's to do things that are gonna make you like that. You want to trick yourself. It's like it's not so much that you want to say, well, at like 10 o'clock I'm gonna do yoga, and at 9 o'clock I'm gonna do. It can't be regimented. It has to be fun. It has to be like something that, you're going to feel like maybe a little instant gratification, or maybe again, long-term gratification. So it's not that you're trying to create new habits, like where you're saying, oh, well, I'm going to do this to discipline because of my parents, but it's to focus on the end result of why you're doing it. Like, I want to be like have more emotional regulation. I want to be more grounded. I want to be more focused. Well, those things will help me with work. Those things will help me. Like, and it's to do things that are going to help you to do them. I always tell people, like, it's like, how do you change addictive behavior? It's like, you can't just say, I'm going to stop. People can do that, and they can stop for a little bit of time, but usually they'll fall back onto the wagon, off the wagon, rather, onto the wagon. I was going to say off the wagon, and have to, and have to start it all over again. But when you look at like an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, or somebody that runs like a recovering drug addict that is like now is running a multi-billion-dollar corporation, well, what did they do? Well, they again channeled all that emotional energy and all that addictive behavior and all that compulsive energy, like which alcoholics tend to have, that obsessive compulsive energy, and they channeled it into work. They channeled it into becoming who they are. It's again the art of transmutation. The only energy that can be transmuted really into power is fire, is anger, is rage, it's resentment, is pain. And so it's to become yourself. The answer is always to become yourself, because you're born into a family, into an environment that teaches you who you are before you're able to really figure out who you are. Before you know it, you live in someone else's life and you're like, I don't really like what I'm doing. And then you have to go up against family and environment and expectations. And a lot of people aren't strong enough, and they live from that level of consciousness. So before they even get out of their house and into their first relationship, they're messed up. It's like, and they've been living like imbalance, and they're looking for the answer outside of themselves and getting into connections and hoping that takes it away, and not really taking it away. And they haven't given themselves enough time to cultivate who they are, so they can't possibly nurture you on an emotional level. And here it is, you're thinking, well, I can't be emotionally fulfilled. And Spirit says, no, you attract what you are, what you do. So if you're not investing in yourself, pouring into yourself, not just for your emotional stability, But understand the universe knows what you need more than you know what you need. Also knows what's going to happen, unlike you. So understand, as one door closes, another door opens. As long as you're in the flow doing what you love, you're not moving you. You're living your bliss. You're living from the higher self, the God part of self. When you're not living in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature, and the laws of the universe, you are in balance. You are going to attract imbalance. There's only two energies, love and fear. So you say, my imbalance looks nothing like that. It's like, no, but the spiritual lesson is still the same in order to balance it out. And that's to, in this story, is to know your worth, know your love. And you do that by investing in you, by making yourself strong, because you can't create stability through creating a stable structure, meaning house or where you live, or something outside of you. You actually make yourself strong. That's how you create strength, because whatever happens in your environment, it won't matter as long as you're strong. So it all reverts back to that. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope that you guys got something out of this, and I will be back on tomorrow. Thanks for showing up for me. I appreciate y'all. All right. Love you. Bye.